That's the news, or unfortunate news rather, for the Trailblazers and their coach Terry Stotts. They have agreed to part ways on Friday. Let me give you some. Let me give you a background on him. He has 5 first round eliminations, which is probably a factor as to why they parted ways. He has an 8 consecutive playoff appearance, which is the longest streak in the NBA. And he has a 402 and 318 record in 9 seasons with the Blazers. So he's obviously a really good coach. Um, but he just wasn't able to get them over that hump. And I do have a quote from Blazers president, the ball of operations, and that quote: "I have the utmost respect for Terry and what he has accomplished these past 9 seasons. This was a difficult decision on both the personal and professional level, but it's in the best interest of the franchise to move in another direction. Terry will always hold a special place in the Trailblazers family and the Portland community. We relied on the integrity, professionalism, and consistency he brought to the job every day, and we wish him and Jan nothing but the best." And the source for this was Woj. Of course it is, because that's the GOAT. So I'll start off with you first, Mario. What do you think of the Trailblazers moving on from Terry Stotts?
Well, first of all, I wish Terry Stotts the best of luck or whatever his future NBA career holds. And as for the Trailblazers, I wish them the best of luck in finding a new coach. Yeah, Nate. I was actually shocked by this that they fired Terry Stotts. Because I thought Terry Stotts was a good coach. And even though he had those 5 first round eliminations, he did get his team to the second round. He did take his team to the Western Conference Finals. So it's not like that's all it was with Terry Stotts was, oh, you go to the playoffs and then bam, off the first round. It wasn't like that. He did have some good moments, but at the end of the day, they wanted to go a different route. I don't know who they could get, to be honest with you. They could get D'Antoni, but I was thinking about it. I was like, that could be a good sign. But then I was like, the Blazers themselves are already good offensively. Like, they have Lillard, who's an absolute offensive beast. They have McCollum, who's a great offensive player. They have Carmelo Anthony, who can perform offensively at a decent level. But my problem with the Blazers, Nate, is defense. They don't have, again, defensively, they haven't been the same team. They just haven't been the same team defensively. So I think what they should do for the Blazers is get a defensive head coach to help them out defensively. Okay, you know what? It's tough, Nate, because there aren't a lot of them. There's just not. There's just not a lot of defensive coaches that are available. They all look like offensive coaches. D'Antoni, Jason Kidd, I think is more offensive than defensive. I think they need a defensive head coach because offensively they're golden. Defensively, if they could improve that, I think they'd be set. But I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, Damian Lillard is dropping almost 40 a night. Some days he has to drop 50 or 60. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, if your star player is dropping 40 or 50 points a game, there's definitely a problem offensively. If you guys are still losing, there's definitely a problem defensively. And the problem it's not offense. I'm going to be real. The problem is not It's not offense, because offensively they are golden. Defensively they are not. Okay, but I think a defensive head coach could definitely help them out, and that's why I think they need to go target us. So I don't know who is available, but they got to figure something out defensively. They got to figure something out.
Can't get him, yeah.
See, that's what's tough because there isn't a lot of defensive coaches available, Nate.
It's not even just that, but there isn't a lot of coaches available in general.
Right.
The 3 that we mentioned, that's really all we can think of. A lot of people say that, former players should become head coaches for the league because there's just so very few of them, and the most common name that I hear a lot of is Paul Pierce. A lot of people want Paul Pierce to become a head coach. But it's just so rare, Mario, because we don't really see a lot in these instances where there's very few head coaches that can be hired for a job. That's very, very uncommon. Usually there's always someone out there. Maybe there is a coach out there that we just don't know of off the top of our head.
Right. And a perfect example of defensive head coach that definitely helps a team is the Suns. You look at the Phoenix Suns and you look at how talented offensively they are with Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a good defender too, but you look at how talented they are, and you look at DeAndre Ayton, who's a good defensive player as well. Monty Williams, when he came in, dude, he changed that team around. He changed that team around defensively because offensively they were good. Okay, defensively not so much. But when Monty Williams came, he really did a good job. And you see what he did against LeBron James and the Lakers. He really did frustrate him. So when you're going to look at it, Nate, I mean, I'm really looking at it. That's what they need, a defensive head coach. But I can't think of any. As of now, I can't think of any defensive head
Right.
coaches that you could hire. You could go to former players as well, but I just can't see any really.
Yeah, right. It's just so tough because it's just so uncommon to see a league that's like in this position where teams are firing their coaches and whatnot. In the Celtics case, it was different. Brad
I'll,
Stevens got promoted. That was a different situation, but it's an interesting situation. Now, before I let you do your thing, going to Terry Stotts, I was just as surprised as you, Mario. Because even though he had 5 first round eliminations, he did take his team to some kind of heights. And honestly, Mario, I just don't know what's going to happen with the Blazers moving forward. I really don't. It's just so tough because again, not only is there not that many defensive coaches, but there really just isn't that many coaches on the market as we speak. Just like I said, the few that we mentioned before. So it's honestly tough, man. It really is. It's
right.
tough to say who can coach the team because there was rumors that Jason Kidd was actually going to take the job, but he actually withdraw from that. So he's not available, at least for the Blazers. That maybe he'll go to the Celtics and the Magic or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe he'll just stay with the Lakers. I couldn't tell you, but
Right. Well,
it's
here's what I
it's it's a tough situation. It really is.
right. Well, here's what I will say. You know what? I'm thinking one guy that could really that could actually help them, to be honest with you. Go with try to find like an assistant coach. Try to find an assistant coach in that league because that's what they usually do, Nate. When you can't find one that's available, you find an assistant coach and you try to recruit him. Now look at the best defensive teams in the game, okay? And find those assistant coaches that have been there long. Find the best defensive team throughout a consistent amount of years. Find out some assistant coaches and then interview them. That's what I do. Okay, get the request to go interview for them and try it out. But as of now, when you're looking at head coach candidates, there's not a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
options.
not many options, right?
Not that there's a lot of good ones. Obviously, Mike D'Antoni is a great coach. Obviously, Jason Kidd has potential. Same thing with Chauncey Billups and like Paul Pierce and everybody you mentioned. But look for all you got to do really. The best thing for them to do is go look at the best defensive teams, look at their assistant coaches, and go in try to interview for them. That's what I do. But with that being said, I wish the Blazers the best of luck. As for Terry Stotts, I wish him the best of luck in whatever his career might hold. He could possibly go to Orlando
Yeah,
and
he
and,
could
and
he
help
could
them
go there.
offensively.
I would love to see him coach for the Celtics. I would love to see that. But I'd also love to see
Sorry,
Paul
that's another
Paul
team that
Pierce
needs a
coach as
coach.
well. So
Okay,
I don't know.
so
I
as
don't
of
know what's
now,
gonna happen.
it's very interesting right now. The whole coaching drama, like what's going to
Yeah.
happen, who's going to get what, the whole scramble. It's pretty interesting. But again, only time will tell, and we'll see what happens. Then. So with that being said, best of luck to the Blazers and best of luck to Terry Stotts.